Welcome to the Energy Talk here on Skype Live on Wednesdays. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm a spiritual counselor, energy coach, and trainer of other energy healers. And I frequently comment about these collective energies that we are all experiencing, especially if we are a little energetically sensitive. And that's something that some of us may not actually identify at first. Yeah, this is a typical symptom of energetic sensitivity that we believe we're the only ones. So by doing these energy talks and forming a community around this and using words that help us to better understand ourselves and what we're experiencing, we are no longer feeling alone. And that's something that I've dedicated my life's work to here at transCODES. So if you would like to see what these individual services are for individuals and groups, then please check my website. Yeah, so we are here nearing the end of July 2023, and this is an auspicious time right now. Yeah, people are experiencing extremes everywhere, be it the weather or be it your inner emotional or physical or mental or even spiritual impulses that are going through you. And I must tell you that this is a bit of a challenge right now for many of us. Yeah, for various reasons. Yeah, there's physical reasons, emotional reasons, intellectual reasons, reasons that have to do with the development of our society, etc. I don't want to go into them. I just really want to dedicate this energy talk to how to better deal with this. So what I hear the most, apart from complaints, not being able to sleep right, not being able to focus right, or, being tired, being exhausted, or perhaps even, and this is what many of us may have not admitted to ourselves, being somewhat frustrated with how things are going. And I've dedicated a few talks to stuckness, how to get out of inner stuckness. And I don't want to talk about that again. I just really want to address the subjective experience of when we feel like we're not getting anywhere. Is anyone here concurring with this, or am I just making this up? Those are things that I hear from my clients talking and working with people's energies every day. Yeah, so I'm not alone, and so neither are my clients. Yeah, so you experience this as well. So let's take a step back here, look at something that I publish every month. You can look at this at my website, on my blog, and if you are an active participant here in my training club or How to Warrior program, as I used to call this, then you will already have seen this every month. I give a kind of specific analysis of the energies of a month. I create an energy alignment that is attuned to this. This is supposed to help us. You can look this up on my website. You can download or actually listen to this energy alignment on SoundCloud and work with this, a 20-minute MP3, like a meditation session. And if we look at the July important dates and shifts that are occurring, we're recognizing that there is something coming up here on the 22nd. So obviously energies aren't really by date, they are fields, fields that encompass our collective unconscious, which means they usually unfold way earlier, or let's say they come in, way earlier. They're activated like maybe 1 or 2 weeks ahead of time, and then they unfold around those times that we can then see them maybe in the news or in conversations with others. So Basically, what I'm saying is that whatever it is that we are experiencing can already be experienced prior to these dates. And that's really what it means to be energetically sensitive. This doesn't even have anything to do with, being psychic or clairvoyant. This is something that we are simply picking up on, with this big antenna that we are, our body, our heart, our spirit, our soul, and even our intellect to a certain degree picks up on certain things that at the time make no sense for us. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here because you have found me because you have identified that you are highly sensitive or energetically sensitive. And the way you've identified this is probably because you have had those experiences in your life. And I'm not talking about premonitions per se. I'm talking about a certain level of clairvoyance, of sort of inner sight. Yeah. And lastly, this whole sort of mainstream movement here in the last, well, almost 100 years now of New Age and, this spirituality movement is dedicated to better understanding this. And I'm trying to deliver or, trying to assist you with, understanding yourself better and what is going on inside of yourself through all these training courses and talks and programs and individual and group sessions that allow you to match up, your inner experiences with what someone else like me, for example, who has trained this, for almost 40 years of my life, to interpret, to work with my inner sight. And the reason why I'm talking in this long-winded way here is to create an arc for you to this shift that is occurring here right now in July. This is more than just the usual fluctuation or up and down that we have been, well, that we can all experience throughout our life. This is a real big shift in our awareness. And what this means, I mean, you see this everywhere. People throwing these words, global transformation, collective awakening, big reset, etc., around, like we all know what it is, but quite frankly, most people don't know what it is and also don't understand how it actually takes place within the individual. And I wanted to point your attention to this today because in all of this, this awakening that we have been talking about for so many decades now, the big part that, well, that it actually matters, okay, that we sometimes forget is what it does to us and why it is so significant in the history of human evolution, of the evolution of human consciousness. It's not just another, industrial revolution 4.0 or, the introduction of AI or, all these shifts that those of us who are a little older have seen many, many times. Yeah, like on this sort of 3D level. No, guys, this is a really big inner shift that we are talking about. And this shift has to be consciously witnessed by us as individuals. Why? Because it marks the beginning of an unfoldment, of a seed suddenly germinating, that has been placed into our collective 2,000 years ago. It is the individuation of our I am consciousness, of our soul, that is taking place now. Now, this has been taking place over all these centuries, gradually at a pace that is barely noticeable. But we are here at this moment in history where we can, for the first time, consciously observe this. And what I am talking about, and this is a very important message, what I am talking about is the unfolding of your inner sight. Many of you have been wondering about this and, ran maybe from one healer or course to the next, trying to harness this, trying to be special in some way, trying to gain information about the spiritual worlds or the future. Well, your efforts weren't in vain, but this is now becoming available for all of us. And how does this work? How is this, well, real for us? Things that I have been teaching for now nearly 20 years, in systematic ways, offering pathways that people can take in order to better understand what is going on. And let me just, look at this important dates chart here real quick. I'm talking about the energetic shift that took place around a week ago. Yeah. And then a reality check. Yeah. This was these last couple of days when we went through this really intense new moon energy, where all of the sudden, I don't know if this has happened to you as well, but it has certainly happened to me. A lot of things that I may have avoided looking at or didn't want to feel came forward in this sort of like, okay, look at me. All right, this is the truth. And this may be confusing for you, or as I mentioned earlier, frustrating, because there is something in that we can't quite grasp yet. What is the purpose of seeing those things that frustrate us? You might ask yourself. And that is where we need to understand that the conscious witnessing of that is how we individuate ourselves. This is when we fully connect with the depth of who we are, our true self, as I often call it. And by the way, we have the free Connect with Your True Self energy healing session come up. Yeah, so that's something I've been doing for 12 years every month. Yeah, feel invited to come. There's a link here in the description how to sign up for it. What does this seeing your true self, yeah, and with it also not just who you are in your totality, but also what you want and what you need and where this leads you. What is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is to align yourself to your true purpose here in life. What gives meaning to you being here? Perhaps if you are familiar with karmic aspects, recognizing what all this is for, making sense of these things. And it is in our observation of these old patterns that we begin to see, yeah, more. And I want to point out here that this inner sight, this new awareness that is coming to all of us now without exception, does not necessarily come in form of visual sight. So when I use the word clairvoyance, that's not technically correct. It is more of an inner hearing and an inner listening. It is more of an awareness, yeah, that talks to you. It's like your true self talking to you, yeah, as the the emissary, if you will, of your soul. That's the way your soul is speaking to you, and we're suddenly able to hear this. And the practical implications of that are that we need to make a choice. We need to make the choice of whether we want to listen, whether we want to understand this inner revelation, or if we want to distract ourselves, continue to avoid that with, just following maybe things that allow us to be in denial about this. So there is something very serious about this now. And if you feel confusion, if you don't know why you're so frustrated, if you are really at the end of your wits, your intellectual wits as to what you need to change, then I want to let you know that this is an extremely powerful new tool. This inner sight, or this inner clairaudience, or this ability to directly connect with your soul self. It will help you to see and discern truth. It will not resolve all your problems at once, and it will not eradicate karma so that you don't have to come back again. No, those are all these New Age myths. No. It reveals what needs to be healed, so that, not for the end of all suffering, so that you can finally evolve into that which has been seeded into you as divine being. And that is what gives us meaning and ultimately fulfillment. So growth, as the most natural force in us, that wants us to evolve, that wants us to grow, just like how nature does this for everything that you see out there, needs to be answered. The call to grow needs to be answered. And if we, don't want to hear it, don't want to see it, deny it, which is our right. We have the right to choose not to grow, not to see, not to evolve. But if we do this, we do need to understand that this, what I have been calling bifurcation that is taking place now, that this catapults us into a lower evolutionary stream or timeline, which means that we are choosing, to not grow into what is in our divine nature. It is a form, and this may sound a little harsh when I say this, but it is a form of denying, your divine nature. And I know what this sounds like, guys, but I really want you to contemplate these words. Because when it comes to the practical aspect of this, the part that we are all so powerless, or seemingly powerless with, well, what can I do? Yes, I'm willing to see truth. I'm willing to accept truth. I'm willing to work with this. What can I do? Then the answer becomes very, very simple. The answer is to stop believing in your ego reality, even just as a mental exercise, assume that what it is that you are, believing in, that you have, blindly accepted as your reality, may be erroneous, may be faulty. And this is not about conspiracy theories or anything. This is about You and you. This is about how you see yourself and your reality, your entire environment. And if you are willing to say to yourself, well, maybe I have not been seeing truths. Maybe, I'm just seeing a projection of my own ego's narrative here. Then you are ready to work with what is being shown to you, what is being revealed to you. Yeah, what is creating the struggle, the suffering, the stuckness in you. And as soon as you're willing to take this on in a neutral and non-judgmental way, you will begin to have access to a new power. And that power is called self-healing. Self-healing comes with the divine nature seed or spark. It is coded into you, the ability to correct yourself and to heal yourself through what? Through free thinking, liberating yourself from your ego mind, through attuning yourself to truth, being willing to see truth, even if it might be a little discomforting for the ego, and through love, loving truth, loving that true self in you more than your ego self. Recognizing the magnificence of that soul being, that spirit being that is in you, that lives in your soul, and loving that one more than your 3D physical existence. Those are the powers that you will be able to tap into. And how do we do this? We do this through aligning ourselves to truth. And when we do, we recognize that our intellectual mind is not capable of understanding that. Yeah, so I talked about the energetic sensitivity earlier, and that's exactly part of that unfolding in you. You have another sense, another thing in you that is able to perceive something beyond your intellectual mind, but you simply can't make sense of it yet. And this is what is changing. What is this part in you? Well, if you are an active participant, you have the Sacred Self-Healing Community, if you're doing the steps, if you're watching these energy talks and all my other workshop videos and so forth, then you already know the answer. It's your sacred heart. It is not the physical heart. It is that part in you that is able to perceive, that is naturally clairvoyant, if you will, but without you yet being able to know what that is. And my message today is to trust in that. Yeah. There are so many things here in this even 3D life that just simply make sense to us, even though we don't know how it works, isn't it? We all intuitively know that a flower or a butterfly or a bowl of fruits or a bouquet of flowers, for example, is something that is good to us, good for us. We all know that a walk in nature is good for us, but barely anybody knows exactly why. I have attempted many times to explain the dynamics, and in my master classes, we're actually starting to get somewhere with this, fully understanding the energetic interactions that occur when you tune into nature, when you meditate, when you harness the silence of your ego mind. Okay, there are so many things that you begin to hear and to see. And this occurs through your heart, not through your brain. This is the part that we really need to wrap our minds around. Yeah, your mind cannot grasp this, but, and this is the most positive part of this message, if you allow your heart and your mind to come together in a conscious awareness, like we are training this here in the Sacred Self-Healing program, then you are right on target. This is the next level. This is the next step for you to evolve. This is your growth. So instead of frustrating yourself because you can't make any sense of what is happening to you, stop trying to figure it out. Instead, calm down, slow down, silence your mind, that part, that I call ego mind, even your body and even your emotions. Yeah, discipline that and tune into your heart. What does your heart tell you? What does it communicate to you? And if you still have a hard time doing this, then use the helpers that are out there. Then go out into nature. Yeah, whether it's cold or hot, it doesn't matter. Take your shoes off, stand barefoot in grass, touch a tree, pet a dog or a cat, and experience it for yourself. The activation of your sacred heart is the biggest evolutionary step in 2000 years. And that is happening right now, guys. And it's happening with or without you. Yeah, whether your mind is making sense of it or not. And because you're listening to this message, I know that you already feel it in your heart. So this is the message here today. If you do you have any comments here? Would you like to say something into the microphone or ask questions about this? I think this is a really big message. How does this make you feel? How do you process that? Is there a part of you that responds to my words without being able to fully make sense of them? Can you feel
That's probably me.
Okay. Well,
I just feel that the message is beautiful, and I'm very, very grateful. And I do feel like you're giving me those glimpses into my sacred heart. So thank you.
Thank you. Because the fact that you can feel this is the proof, that it's working. It's to prove that you are receiving it. This is all about feeling. This is not about understanding. Obviously, there's always a part, that has to do with training and practicing and so forth. And that's what I've dedicated my life's work to, all the way to founding a school, an elementary school for children, 5 to 10 years old. Because I've recognized through my work with you that a lot of these confusions that we have are merely a lack of education, if you believe it or not. An education that allows us as young humans, to recognize that there's something beyond the intellect, that plays into our individual experience, and that needs to be explored as well. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with academic learning. It's also part of our evolutionary path. And it's very important. And I even want to go as far as saying that in order to fully individuate as a soul self, yeah, where you recognize that you are your own soul, you do need education. This is the reason why this is occurring now in this day and age, because we have tools that we are being bestowed with right from, just coming into this life, into this age. Yeah, we can all read and write. We can all, form sentences, maybe even learn foreign languages. We can all do math. These are huge evolutionary accomplishments if you think about it, from compared to like 2000 or 3000 years ago. Yeah, humankind, yeah, most humans on this planet were illiterate. Yeah, it was a very, very small elitist group that could read and write. And yet, the Greeks were able to explore the intellect all the way to its height. Yeah, Aristotle, Socrates, Plato. Yeah, we have not really developed our intellect any further than that. But what has developed, yeah, in these 2,500, 600 years now is our heart intelligence, and that is now coming into expression in your life. Yeah. So with this message, I really want to send a reminder, yeah, that all the things that are good, all the things that are true, that are beautiful, that are loving, do not need to make sense, guys. You do not have to understand them with your mind. It does not help to educate yourself on them, but that requires you to liberate yourself from the bias that your ego mind has. So you first have to step into the freedom of your mind, yeah, the free thinking, yeah, and understand how your thinking works, not your thoughts. Most of you are still identifying with your thoughts, and that's why your new reality does not make sense to you. If you want to know more, go to my YouTube channel, yeah, and watch those workshops, or better yet, become part of the Sacred Self-Healing community with workshops and daily meditations, etc., that can help you, yeah, to deliver you the impulses needed for your sacred heart to come into your awareness. So remember, it's happening with or without you. Yeah, there's a long and a short way. The long way is to ignore it, yeah, and to continually run into these karmic patterns and frustrations. The short way is to embrace it and to say, oh, all right, something is happening here. I feel something. Yeah, and that feels quickening to me. That feels rejuvenating to me. That feels fulfilling to me. And even though I cannot understand it, I will follow it. I will listen to it. That's your heart mind. That's the feeling. That is a very positive message, guys. Yes, so thank you all for coming here and for sharing. Stay conscious.